Morning. Happy Monday, everybody. Good to be back. Good to be back. I scheduled that live stream on Friday. Thanks for, sorry for the late notice. I scheduled it and I realized literally I have an appointment on Friday. I knew that. I knew that going in. Got to be better organized. Anyways, thanks for tuning in. Hopefully your coffee is hot. If you're watching on the live stream replay, we do go live Monday to Friday, 8 o'clock a.m. Pacific time to about 8:45. It's a good conversation. TFSAs, the market, investing, all that good stuff. The coffee crew, we have a good start to the morning. And as people roll in, as I like to say, don't forget, hit the like button, helps the channel out. Channel's still growing slowly but surely, much like the portfolio. I had posted my update over just before the weekend. Got a update film, so if you haven't caught that, you can catch that. Channel growing slowly, portfolio growing slowly, and I actually had a comment someone pointed out, almost at $15,000. So getting there slowly but surely, which is nice. It's nice to see it. It's still down, obviously, but it's nice to see it's slowly ticking up, which is nice. Getting closer and closer to that goal of $100,000. So there we go. If you have goal, what's your goal? I guess that's a good question. We haven't actually asked that for a while. What's your goal for your TFSA? Does anybody have like any specific goal? Let me know. But let's see who's here. Early morning here. Always early is Candace. Welcome, channel member Candace. Much appreciated. Coffee and donuts this morning. Just coffee for me. Hopefully you're well. Hopefully you had a good weekend. Hopefully the market's doing good for you and doing good for everybody else. Let's get your joke out of the way so I don't forget it. ChatGPT 4, always interesting. I haven't subscribed to ChatGPT 4 yet, but these jokes are getting good. They're still terrible, but good. A duck waddled onto Wall Street and started quacking. A confused investor asked, "What are you doing here?" The duck replied, "I'm here to make a splash in the stock market." That's just terrible. Make a splash. There we go. All good. And good morning, Stan. Always good to have you here. Hopefully you're doing well. Hopefully everybody had a good weekend. That's true as well. And Nadia, good to have you back. Haven't seen you for a bit, Nadia. I wonder where you were. You haven't been here for a bit, but good to have you, channel member as well. Awesome. Always good to have the coffee crew in here and the channel members. And hello. Hopefully you had a good weekend too. Weather was pretty good here. Got out for a few walks. Just kind of relaxed. That was the weekend. I watched. I'm addicted to. On Netflix. My brother had actually told me to watch it at one point, and he said, watch the F1 series on Netflix. You'll really like it. I'm not a sport racing or anything like that fan, but I started watching that on Friday, and I was addicted. I watched it all weekend. So I've been basically all I did is went out for a couple walks, got outside, but then came home and watched F1. I'm into like the second season of that one already, which is crazy. Yeah. So that was my weekend. How the market's doing? Market doing okay, actually. Friday was good, pretty happy. Things to be, and then looking today, kind of things, we over the weekend, obviously we didn't have hope, cross the fingers, no banks or anything have failed over the weekend. So it was kind of a relatively somewhat quiet weekend. I always follow I'm up on Twitter on all weekend with all the news and stuff going on, and nothing. Maybe the fear has subsided a little bit, hopefully, and we'll start to see that. I know a lot of the people talking over on Blossom about looking at adding bank stocks to their Canadian bank stocks to their buys right now, because they're obviously, banks are down. I don't know. Give me your thoughts on that one. Have you added? I know banks are popular in Canada for investing, for Canadian investors for sure. I don't have any individual banks, as you know, in my portfolio, but part of BTC.Y is heavily, about 20-something% is in Canadian financials. So we'll have to see how that pans out. Let's see, make sure I've got everybody. Train here. Good morning. Good to have you here. Awesome. Hope you had a good weekend as well. Everybody starts to roll in. Everybody's waking up on a Monday. Hey folks. Hey Sean. Good to have you here, which is great. Hopefully you had a good weekend as well. Yeah, Candace, not too much happening in everything, which is maybe a good thing. So we might have any kind of shocks or scares or anything like that. Obviously, I mean, I think a lot of us long-term investors, so we kind of have to ride these ugly weeks, ride those ugly weeks out and carry forward. But hopefully nothing new. The only major kind of thing I saw kind of coming up this week, Candace, is the Canadian budget. But again, in the big, huge picture, how much does Canada really impact? How much does it really affect everything? It's hard to know. But I have an article on the budget that's kind of, I guess there's some leaks kind of getting kind of put out there to see what happens. So we'll pull that one up after we say good morning to Dank Magic, channel member. Lots of channel members here this morning. That's awesome. That's great. Dank Magic, good morning. Got your coffee going as well, coffee pot. Good to have you here. Thanks for tuning in on the stream. Always appreciate it, and thanks for being a channel member. It's awesome, everybody. It helps support the channel. I'm gonna just roll those YouTube pennies into little bit extra change that comes through from the channel. It's gonna go right into investing, which is awesome. So I thank you. Thanks everybody so much for supporting, and hopefully you get some value out of it as well. On the note of channel members, if you have anything you want to know, obviously, if anything you want to know, I'm always open to doing those private channel member videos for you all. And if there's anything in particular, you can leave a comment and let me know. Happy to do that. Yeah, the food, the groceries. Let's pull that up. Let me go into get into my browser here, and we'll pull this up, Candace, because that was exactly what it was. And oops, I pulled your comment back up. There we go. Tuesday's budget, grocery rebate for lower income Canadians. I don't know the threshold of what is considered a lower income Canadian. It doesn't really mention in this article. I'm going to assume if it's somebody that got probably like a GST rebate, because this is where it seems to be coming tied to. They're going to be apparently. There's going to be a grocery rebate measure aimed at lower income Canadians to help address the affordability crisis, particularly to mitigate the rising cost of food. And senior government official, not authorized to speak publicly, this is always kind of usual, gets out. The overall cost is just over north of $2 billion and will benefit 11 million households. It'll be facilitated through the GST credit. Aimed at lower income families. So the source is kind of mentioning here, single person, obviously within that threshold. I'm not sure what that is. If anybody knows in Canada, let me know what the number for GST and all that kind of stuff is, because I think it's a scale, right? A single person with no children could get a one-time payment of $234, and a couple with two kids, $467, and a senior would be about $225. So there we go. We'll have to see how that pans out. Obviously, I mean, anything is probably going to help a little bit. I don't know how much. It's interesting. I got groceries on the weekend too. I did my weekly kind of curbside pickup, and it's funny. I spent about $235 almost, just under, and you don't get very much for $200 anymore. It's crazy. Food is definitely expensive, so this will help. I mean, obviously, any little bit helps, but it's you definitely have to. You're definitely noticing the pinch on in groceries, stuff like that. So we'll see. Also, yeah, Candace, that's exactly it. $234 doesn't give you much. Fresh produce basically is $234 would be. I mean, it's. I shouldn't say you don't get much for $200. I mean, it's cupboards are full with some stuff, stocked up with stuff. Freezer's got some stuff in it. But again, you get it home and you start unpacking it, and you're like, that's actually not that much stuff. So it's expensive, and fresh stuff is really expensive. That's true. You end up going to the store, get fresh vegetables or something like that, and you end up spending $30-$40, and you don't get a lot. And it's then all of a sudden, a few days later, your fridge is bare of fresh produce. But I think it kind of goes. Look at. We talked about it before. Look at flyers. I think really helps. Because if you have different stores you can go to, see if you can get them to match prices, all that kind of stuff. Any little bit really helps. That's what I've noticed. Even if you can save 50 cents or $1 on something, that really can add up at the end of the month with your grocery bill. That is for sure. So that's what I kind of look at, stuff like that. And Surface 47, good morning. Good to have you here. I've got to find my coffee. Hopefully you're doing well. The other one in this in here was, and this is I think probably a decent one. They're looking at affordability measures, and they plan to crack down on junk fees to consumers. So junk fees are saying hidden or unexpected consumer charges that are tacked onto initial price of a product or service. Which ultimately obviously inflates the cost. They're looking, I think part of that is like crack down on phone and internet providers, and also large event ticket sellers. So interesting on that one. I know with phones, yeah, there can be, every time you kind of get a phone, there's like setup fees and all this kind of stuff that they try and get you with. And I know from looking, because I just finished the contract on my phone. I didn't renew it or anything like that. I just carry on and buy out my phone and carry on. But I remember looking at, they give you different offers and stuff like this. And if you sign up for a new plan, they waive that activation, these fees that they if you order online, you get an extra $25, like all these little bits and pieces where they try and nickel and dime you for somehow to get you to either order online or call in to do it, or don't go to a store or that kind of stuff. So if we can save some money, we'll have to see what happens with the rest of the budget. That's for sure. I guess on the flip side of that, though, if there's, like you say, giving say $234 extra to some people, is that actually, will that have the reverse effect and actually increase inflation, right? Because there's more money to spend. I don't know. I mean, $234 isn't a ton of money. For someone to go crazy with groceries, but we'll have to see. We'll know tomorrow. I'm not sure what time it is getting released tomorrow. I'm going to assume probably in the morning sometime. But if anybody knows the time, if we can talk about it on the live stream, we will. There we go. That is all the actual kind of news, and like kind of said, kind of a slow kind of news week, market wise. So that might be a good thing for us in terms of going forward with me. It's Monday, so I have to do my weekly deposit. I have to put that over into Wealthsimple. I will do that later on today at some point. Get that purchase. Still doing the same thing, basically 1 share BTC.Y. I have been adding, if you watch the channel update video, I have been adding to Brookfield Renewables. That's actually part of the actually go back to the budget a little bit. And where did I close off the page? There it is. They actually mention, is it on this page? They're going to be adding to the budget investments in the clean industrial economy. So this may help my holdings, renewable holdings. We'll have to see, but that's something as well they are doing. And also, sorry, as I skip over half the article, they're increasing the RESP limit, allegedly. So far, just kind of speculation, but increasing it from $5,000 to $8,000 annually for the RESP. So a few things kind of happening. We'll know more tomorrow. And yeah, we might need that. We started to get, it's funny you say that, we're starting to get the blossom, not quite the blossoms yet, but you can see the buds kind of starting here. And we might be eating maple leaves or going around. It's funny, I see people picking, sometimes, Candace, along the roads and stuff, dandelion. I know people eat like dandelion. You can eat the young dandelion leaves. So there's a way to save. Some money. I think they're supposed to be quite good for you as well. Whether people make tea or eat them in salad, that kind of stuff. But I've seen people picking that stuff from time to time on the sides of the roads. That or maybe they're mushrooms. I don't know, but I think it's dandelion. Yeah. That's a good call. Yeah, dollar cost average your food. You have to be really look for stuff on sale, and that's what I've been kind of doing too, is looking at things that are like as part of the, if you're buying in the middle of winter, if you're looking at fruits and vegetables, like strawberries are going to be crazy because it's the winter time. Look at other things that are cheaper, maybe cheaper alternatives. I mean, apples even are pricey now too, but cheaper than say buying a pint of strawberries. you could always look at maybe looking at frozen, or I mean, frozen obviously are never quite as good, but there's ways to save some money, and I think that's the key. Dollar cost. I've never. That's the first time I've heard someone say dollar cost average your food, but I think it makes sense. Look for sales, and if you can also put stuff in the freezer, right? Usually buy, like if I'm buying chicken, I'll buy the big thing, and I'll put it into break it apart into individual wrap bags and freeze it. So you just take out what you need. That's one way to kind of save a bit of money. And I eat a ton of, like, I don't really eat. I eat good. I'm not complaining, but I eat very simply as well. I eat a lot of rice. Brown rice is kind of my staple. Lots of potatoes, and I don't eat a ton of red meat. I haven't had red meat in a long time. I know it would be nice sometimes to have a nice steak on the barbecue, but you look at the prices and it's just crazy. I don't need a steak that bad. So I kind of don't do that. If I have some barbecue or something like that, I'll barbecue some chicken thighs or something like that. Tastes good. So, but that would be interesting to see, actually, Candace. Because I'm gonna start a garden. I've got to get kind of up there to the family. They've got a backyard that's quite big. It's going to be. I mean, we're not going to plant the whole thing because it's. I mean, it's not a huge backyard, but it's going to be a big enough garden, and that would be an interesting statistic to see if a lot of people can start to grow stuff, even in containers. You know, there's ways to do that. I was just going to say, Surface, you kind of beat me to it. Tomatoes and stuff like that, they grow like crazy if you have even in containers. I grew. This is years ago, but I'm not a big tomato. I'm not a big tomato fan, but I grew those cherry tomatoes in containers, and you can like make sauce out of them or something like that, or oven dry them or what have you. And you get a ton. You get a ton out of there. I did also grow last summer. Last summer when I was at my mom's, I bought I like hot peppers, so I bought a jalapeno. Plant at Home Depot and put it in one of the containers as well. That thing made so many peppers. I've still got them in the freezer. Like it must have been. There was probably a couple hundred, like way too many. And same with tomatoes. Like if you grow that, so there you go. That's one way to kind of save some money, because I know a little pint of those, for making getting tomatoes, a little pint of tomatoes is like $5. You can buy the whole plant for probably close to 5 or 10. I mean, I don't know how much they are now, but maybe $10. You get a plant somewhere, put it in a pot. Just got to water it, give it a bit of fertilizer, and you'll have hundreds. You'll have too many tomatoes. If you grow them out there. So that's one way to do it. They save some money for sure. And if you have extra, just freeze them. You can freeze them or make some sauce or something like that and freeze the sauce. Good way to save some money. I bet a lot of people will maybe start to, because I think this year we've kind of really started to it kind of carries through, right? You can put up with high prices on stuff for so long, and then you start to really kind of have time to think about it and kind of plan about getting into your garden started. So I think a lot of people will. Yeah, it's kind of neat. I'm going to be starting it. I'll have to share. I'll let everybody know what kind of comes of it. Hopefully I don't necessarily have a huge green thumb, but I water it, go there, take care of it, and see what comes of it. Did you see? No. Did you see there's now an all AI radio option called Radio GPT? Rogers signed up for it, and they own 55 radio stations in Canada. Radio GPT. So how does that work, Candace? Is that AI announcers and stuff like that, or is it just like that? Would be interesting. I'll have to search that. There is so much. That's like the buzzword. Radio GPT. Anything AI is the GPT-4. Oh, okay, let me see here. Futuri Media. Let's pull this up. This is interesting. Good find here. Live, local, powered by AI. Radio GPT. 100% AI from top to bottom. Interesting. Okay, so this is live. World's first localized radio content powered entirely by artificial intelligence. Interesting. So it plays songs, obviously. Let's accept my cookies. Local weather reports. Interesting. So it can obviously pull information from local traffic alerts with a sponsor. It could probably write like this is crazy. This is crazy. I'm gonna bookmark this one and look at this, Candace. I wonder how we. That's pretty amazing. This AI. I think honestly, this AI thing is is pretty mind blowing. And I think it's like things like this come up, and you think it's amazing. It's amazing. Yeah, I won't. That's what I was thinking. I won't play it on the stream because obviously, music can play. So you'll have to go. People will have to check this out on their own. The website. If you just Google Radio GPT, it's literally their first website. It's called futurimedia.com. Super interesting to find this stuff. I was watching like a video interview podcast over the weekend on AI, and I think it's like this is what's crazy. It's learning so fast. And then you start to see all these different, like it's one thing to type in a pun joke into Chat GPT, and we think, oh, that's kind of good. That's kind, so good. But then you start to see these other things that are being built on it with different forms of AI, and it's just like it's mind blowing. What happens? And I don't know if people saw, like there's also AI photography now and pictures, and like it's insane. Like if you go to there's places that can create AI. Like if you saw, I don't know if you saw on Twitter, but there was an AI picture of the Pope going around in like a big white puffy coat. I first saw it. When I first saw it, I thought, oh, that's because I thought people were just like making fun of him for wearing that coat, but it was actually, and turns out like down the line, I saw it was an AI generated images. And at first glance, like you cannot tell that if you really look, you can kind of tell once you kind of know it's AI. But if you didn't, if you saw it, you'd be like, okay, he's wearing a big puffy coat. And but also too, talking about AI, there's places like with these generations. There's also AI companies that, for example, they'll do AI of models. So if you basically can choose exactly the type of model you want to model clothing for image it, and it creates it. And it's like, who would have thought, this whole kind of video podcast was thinking like, who would have thought when we're talking about ChatGPT or an AI, like that the modeling industry would be impacted by this. Like I think we're just the tip, really just the tip of the iceberg for sure. The AI is you. Oh, so you listen to it before you're live. And Candace, I always forget you're live on Sundays. I'm sorry. I'm terrible with that. And because I'm usually not on YouTube too much over the weekend. So I always forget that. Even though I have a reminder on it, it pops up. I'll pick up my phone and then I'm like, oh shoot, I missed Candace's live stream. But anyway, I'll catch the replay. But okay, I'm gonna listen to that afterwards. Like AI sound like real people, and this is the thing. It will only get better, right? And I was looking at a website yesterday. And I can't remember, Candace. Well, I can't remember the website, but it was basically one that created videos, but videos from text. So you would type in what you were trying to do or wanting to do, and it would create an actual video based on your text input. Now the video wasn't perfect, but don't forget, this is like just starting. So what's it going to be like in 5 years, 10 years, 1 year even? I mean, that's the thing. And like you say, listen to the AI radio, you probably necessarily can't, it will start to sound better, right? As it learns, and as, it might start to learn, because you have, when you're listening to the radio normally, you're in your car. If you're in your car driving, you might not actually pick it up as much either, right? Because I mean, mainly only if I listen to the radio, it's usually in the car. I don't have a radio at home, and sometimes you kind of tune it out halfway, so it's kind of on in the back of your head, and it's yeah, super super interesting times. What's going on? MC, good morning. We're talking about AI a little bit here. That's where I love how the conversation always kind of goes in a different direction with what we plan and start out with, which is great. So you've got a friend that is a professional trained in illustration and works for a retoucher, and that's the one. Dal E is such a totally disrupting industry of digital illustration. You can literally generate your own. Yeah, I've looked at one too. You literally can type you just type in exactly what you want it to happen, and it essentially makes it for you. I've looked at, because MC and well, Canada's artists are hit by AI for sure, and it'll be interesting. I've looked at a few kind of, because I mean I like photography. I'm into photography, and there's some people I follow kind of on Twitter that are making images in different types of genres of photography, and it's coming out pretty amazing. Even to the point of like it can figure out and post different types of film, taken from different types of lenses and cameras. It's pretty mind blowing actually what that happens. And I think we'll have to really, now this is the thing, this is what's kind of, we can go down the dark scary path, like what's, obviously there's not a Canadian election, well, maybe, I mean, who knows, anytime soon, but obviously the US, we know when the US election is coming up, like what kind of things are going to be posted or created with AI for that. There was that whole issue with Facebook on their last election. Like it's pretty scary, actually, the stuff that can be created now. You have to almost really look at what you have to look at the source and where it's coming from, and also, I mean, I know one thing about, which I think is good with Twitter, if you're looking at news, is it will have the community notes that people can add, context to it if there's something that is not real, created by AI. But it's getting the lines are definitely getting blurred, and just how quickly it's learning is pretty insane. Yeah, kind of reminds me of custom, between artistic or custom photography to stock photography, but different. Yeah, original. Like that's the thing. If you're a company or something looking for some type of stock photography of some not necessarily an individual product, but probably even even a product. Obviously, if it's trademark stuff, you'll better off probably taking photos yourself. But it's if for different types of maybe locations or like, yeah, it's pretty crazy, picture of an apple tree, for example, or whatever you need, you can just literally type it in, and it becomes AI generated. So that's, I don't know, there's some opportunity there. I don't know where we start to dig in. I think there's probably a spot to start to look for investing possibly, but that's the big thing. Yeah, that's exactly it. Back in the day, yeah, you'd have to hire someone to take photos, like photo shoots for. Well, and I don't know if you're here yet, MC, but there's also a modeling agency that is all completely AI generated now too. So you don't even need you don't need models, and you don't need even photographers. So it's like that's gone. That you not needed anymore, and so usually a photographer would cost you a ton of money. Models would cost a lot of money. Now you can just have it created digitally with AI, and nobody is any the wiser. Yeah, they used to have basically, yeah, used to have basically stock images. You'd have a huge textbook with all the images that you could choose from. Yeah, which is pretty crazy. It's funny, we're talking about stock images. My grandfather was a photographer, but like hobby, a more amateur kind of hobby photographer back in like the 40s and 50s, and he actually did a lot of stock photography back then, uh, and he had this is really, I mean, crazy how to think about it, but he had stock photography of certain things in the one of the encyclopedias that he did some stock photography work for, on that, and also for some magazines and stuff like that. But it was like more stock photography, which is pretty interesting. There's like, I've got like some of his old photographs, and some of the ones are like stock photography of like of certain flowers. Also, super random, we would even think, but like milk manufacturing. This is going back in the 40s though. I mean, milk factory where they're bottling, like milk bottling and all that kind of stuff, which is kind of interesting, back in the day. And of course, the photos are all black and white and big giant, taken with a big giant camera, and you know negatives, and had to be developed and all that kind of stuff. Crazy how it's changed. So the future, I think the future is having traditional trained people tied to machine operation knowledge. You could oversee and do question and answer on the output from the AI before it gets to the end user for review. Yeah, I could see that. Like for something like photography, right? There's still that artistic thing about it that I think possibly somebody that might have been like, say, a photographer would be inputting what they because that's what they're trained to do and what they're looking for, what their eye is looking for, their thoughts, right? But to oversee it, but also too, I mean, how long until it learns enough to basically kind of do it as itself, so someone can put in very rudimentary things and get an output that they like. It's super interesting, super interesting. And that's the thing, yeah. Like commercial art has definitely been disrupted. Everybody has an iPhone now. Even digital SLR cameras are I wouldn't say dying. I mean, I wouldn't say dying, but they're not as popular as they once were. Because like literally everybody, there's a phone in every, or sorry, there's a camera in literally every phone, and lots of AI used with the cameras, right? I mean, we're using it already, and we're not even sometimes realizing it. If you're on Zoom, it's using AI you can retouch yourself and make yourself look younger. If you're using an iPhone camera, you can take a picture and there's even AI that will, if it's a blurry photo, will make it in focus, and you can change the depth of field with AI, and it's pretty amazing, pretty amazing stuff. That's for sure. Probably no end to it. So it'll be interesting with AI, and we're always hearing this new, like what's new. Like I had no idea, Candace, about this radio thing, which is mind blowing. So we're gonna all start to find these new uses, probably uses that we're not even thinking about now, which is always kind of interesting. I made a shirt with AI to make a cat wearing Indiana Jones fedora in front of a Mayan cat stone inset wall with an altar in front of it and a golden cat idol on it with the text "Raiders of the Lost Litter," and it probably worked. I wish you could share. You'll have to maybe email me that, Candace. That would be funny to see. It's pretty crazy. So there we go. Use it for memes. AI for memes. Always interesting stuff. That's so crazy. I'm looking forward to checking out this radio AI. I'm going to put my headphones on after the live stream and just kind of listen. Good for Rogers to kind of get into that, like you said, Rogers. So Rogers got Candace. Let's go back. Is it Rogers bought? So Rogers signed up for it, and they signed up for it. Okay, and then they owned it, but they have a bunch of radio stations. So I'll have to check it out. I have to figure out how. Maybe I don't know if they've invested in it or who owns it. Interesting times. I want to realize. Sorry, see, Senecal. I missed your hello. Good morning. I think I got everybody's. Comments. If I missed you, say hi. If you're new, don't be afraid to say hi. We're always good. Interesting stuff. I'll have to play around. with I haven't done a ton of playing around with the image AI stuff yet. Still do old school. Go take photos. It gets me outside. That's more why I do it. I enjoy it because I also enjoy it because it's nice and relaxing because it gets you outside. It gets you outside, and that's one thing that AI won't solve for a hobby or something like that. You can still do your hobbies, and if it's something that gets you outside, I think there's definitely that's AI won't be able to take that away from me. Yet, unless I eventually I'll put on goggles and I'll be walking around wherever I want. And one thing about AI that we still haven't. Everybody's like, there's a lot of places talking about it. Microsoft, right? ChatGPT. I'm interested to see what really. I mean, Apple has Siri. I'm interested to see what Apple kind of comes out with. That's kind of because they've been kind of a bit quiet on the AI front. It'll be interesting how this all pans out in the next, in our life. Oh, okay. So you sent it. Okay, let me see if I can. Let me log in. Hold on here. Let's go. Sorry, I just got to log into my proper Gmail. Here it is. Let's see if I can share this. Hold on here. That's pretty good. There we go. That's pretty good. You're going to print that on a shirt. And I'm sure you could kind of adjust that as well and say what kind of cat what kind of cat you wanted, all that kind of stuff. That's too good. That's too good. You wouldn't, I mean, you can, if you know what, if you know it's AI, because it's almost too, this is the thing I think with right now, even with different photography and stuff like that, sometimes it's too perfect, right? Like it's too accurate. Because this is a pretty accurate picture of a cat, but it'll get there. You could, that's the thing. Pretty good. That's too funny. That's too funny. There we go. You can print that on a T-shirt and wear it on one of your streams as we go. That's too funny. Pretty amazing. Pretty amazing stuff. There we go. AI. Started. I guess the answer is start investing and looking at companies that are AI. I know we have in the Ian, good call. Yeah, there will be AI that can tell if something is AI. So we'll be able to, like, if it's an image or something like that, we'll be able to drag and drop or input something into it to know if it's created with AI, AI Buster or something like that. There'll be websites or something that we can drag and drop text into, and they'll know whether it was created or photo was created. But yeah, interesting times as well. And that AI that can sense if it's AI will be AI, right? So it's like you're in this like, um, and that's probably one I think a safe way to do it, Candace, would be to actually assume everything going forward is AI. There's quite a few going around Twitter right now, from them. That's for sure. You have to definitely take a second look and get a second opinion of sources for sure, just to be safe, to make sure they're real. I guess where I was saying there with investing, where we're looking. I mean, we've started the tech ETFs. We'll have to, if anybody else has any extra any additions to maybe AI. It's just probably a matter of time before I think there's like an AI. There is an like AI specific ETF being built. I know the ARC ones have some of the companies in them as well. It'd be interesting to see where all this goes, right? Chip manufacturers, and also some of these companies that are still, not public companies that are getting bought out. Interesting times for sure, where we see the future. That is it's definitely it's exciting, actually. I find it exciting. You always hope that it doesn't impact your own work and job, but it's probably just a matter of time before somehow it affects everybody, right? So I don't know. Be prepared, or also learn to embrace it. If there's any kind of new technology coming out in your industry, try and learn it. That's for sure, and try and use it. See if you can find some type of advantage to learn it, and set yourself up for the future. It'll be interesting, what pans out. All right. Well, there we go. Well, we're coming up towards the end of almost 8:45. It is Monday, so I do have work today. If anybody has any last minute comments, questions, let me know. As always, Mondays is the days that I do my dollar cost average. So sticking with that, that's what I'm sticking with. The plan is, on the channel, I'll have try and get an update on the portfolio by midweek. But as always, the live streams going all week. So we'll be here Monday to Friday this week, and be on at 8 o'clock. So if you aren't subscribed or you can also you make sure you're subscribed. You'll get notified. It'll get posted. And if you can't make it live, you can always watch on the replays, which are always fun. These are a lot of fun to do. I'm gonna have on Friday. Friday's the end of the month. I'm planning to actually have a guest on Friday. Jordan coming on. He has a channel. I did an interview with Jordan a couple weeks ago on his channel. We did like a little StreamYard question and answer kind of thing for his channel. He's a big kind of covered call ETF investor. It's part of his portfolio, so that's his channel. His channel. I got to look over here. Covered call ETF investing on YouTube. So check out his channel. He's going to come on Friday. He's got the day off. He's got the day off work, I think, still. So we've kind of set that off. We'll have a new face on the channel for the live. So he's going to come on live. If there's any questions, I'll post it over on the community tab as well. So if anybody wants to ask anything specific, if they're not able to make it live, you can always fire. I'll put it on in a little bit today. Once it's all. Once this thing's done, you can leave a comment, and if you have a question for him or us on the stream that you would like answered, we'll be more than happy to try and answer it. We're keeping it pretty. We're going to keep it simple. We're going to kind of, as always, we kind of just see where the conversation goes. There's always some news to talk about. There's always something that's come up that is relevant for the day or the week. So we haven't done a huge amount of preparation by any means. I always find that these live stream interview or question and answer guests always seems to work better when you just kind of roll with it and see where the conversation goes. That's the whole idea of a live stream, I find. So we're gonna have that. That's on Friday. That's the 31st, which is already the end. Can't believe it's the end of March, which is super crazy. And then April 1st is the 2-year anniversary of the channel. So getting up there. 2 years now. 2 years investing in the TFSA, and keep on rolling. 2 years of the channel, which is all good. All right. Well, there we go, everybody. It's coming up 8:45. So thanks for tuning in. It's always fun. I'm gonna finish my coffee. I'm gonna make another one because I need one because it's Monday. Hopefully the rest of your day goes well. Happy investing, everybody. If you're buying anything today, let me know. If you're what you bought, what you sold, it's always good. Leave a comment on some of the videos. Always appreciated. Until tomorrow, we'll catch you then, 8 o'clock.